job. Oh, you getting paid? No.
Hello YouTubers, here we are today. We're going to go out and do a couple of nice exciting tours. We're going to go visit one of a couple of different distilleries here in Tennessee, and we're going to start out here at the George Dickel Distillery. So we're going to go here and take this tour here. Hope you enjoy it.
I bet you can't guess what the second one is.
Nah, you'll never guess. Not in Tennessee.
Not in Tennessee.
All right.
To pull all that smoke up off our charcoal, keep everything nice and mellow. As we like to say, mellow as moonlight. Now we're going to store these down here. Once it comes time to burn them, we're going to pull them out to this open field back here. We're going to burn everything down, let it cool down. We'll gather it up, put it underneath this covered porch. At that point, they'll break it up, rake it out, let it dry for about a week. Then at that point, they can bring over burlap sacks from across the way. They're going to fill those, take them back, and hand pack our charcoal mellowers. Now, to be called a Tennessee whiskey, there's some legalities to it. First and foremost, obviously, we have to be geographically here in Tennessee. Aside from that fact, we have to be using single-use white oak barrels, and we have to be charcoal mellowing our product. That is the Lincoln County process created by Uncle Nearest Green, and it's what we have to follow to be considered a Tennessee whiskey. Now, in addition to that, Mr. George had a couple extra steps he added in that he thought made his whiskey the finest around. In fact, he thought it was just as fine as the Scotch whiskeys that he preferred. So if you notice, we do spell our whiskey with a KY, and that's why. He loved those Scotch whiskeys. He felt he had made it just as good a whiskey, so he used that spelling, and we've kept it on till today. Now, in his extra steps, we're going to have 2 virgin wool blankets, one on the top and one on the bottom of each of our charcoal mellowers. Now, that first blanket is going to take off any excess corn oil in the product. If you ever had a whiskey, took a drink, walked away a couple minutes later, dang, I'm still kind of feeling that.
We must be going to heading up north. To bottle that up there. Mm-hmm. So not all the tanker trucks you see are milk.
Out here what you're going to see, because we have a big group, and if you're on the fringes of the group, you're probably not going to hear me inside. Flag me down, I'm happy to answer any questions, but we'll tell you what you're going to see before we go in. Now in this first level here, we have our mash tubs. They're just a shade under 10,000 gallons. We're going to gravity feed all of our grain into them from the floor above. So we're going to drop in our cracked corn, cook it up to a boil, lower it down temperature a little bit, add in our rye for some spice, cook that, lower it down again, add in our malted barley. Now, our malted barley is going to have enzymes in it. It's going to help convert our starches to sugars once we get into our fermentation process. Now, once that's done, cooking up, they're going to add in our setback. Now, we are a sour mash product here, so much like making sourdough bread, we're going to use a little bit of that last fermented batch, use it to get the next batch going. Once that's cooked up, they're going to move it up to our second floor. Now, we have our fermentation tanks up there. They're just a shade over 20,000 gallons. So we're actually able to double batch both of those mash tubs into one of those fermenter tanks. So we can move that mash pretty quickly. Now, once it gets there, it's going to ferment for 3 to 4 days, depending on which day of the week it's being started. Earlier in the week, it's going to go on a 3-day ferment. They're going to set it at 72 degrees. Later in the week, because they don't work Sundays here in the factory for the moment, that's changing, they add to put it on a 4-day ferment. They'll lower that temperature down to 64 degrees, come and deal with it Monday morning. Now, I say for now, to give you an idea of how much our brand has expanded. When I first came through as a visitor in 2017, they were doing everything on one shift. Now we do everything on 2 shifts. After the first of the year, they will be gradually going over to 24/7. So the brand is just expanding pretty exponentially. A lot of that is driven by our new master distiller, Nicole Austin, and her success with our Bob and Bond products and our bourbon. So now, once it's done fermenting there, we'll see it go through several different stages of ferment. It'll be, kind of hazy, look like a hot road across the top. It'll get kind of bubbly. It'll hit a point where it gets to where it's throwing about half-dollar size bubbles, just one after another popping. Once it gets there, it's about done through the fermentation process. It'll slow back down, calm back down. They'll move it from those fermentation tanks over to our beer tank. I can't talk today. Over to our beer tank. Now, once it gets there, it's what's considered to be distiller's beer. It has some alcohol content to it. We'll smell that alcohol coming off, but it's not super high. It's like 10 to 15% ABV. So my personal theory is you're going to get sick off of it long before you ever get drunk off of it, because essentially it's alcoholic corn soup, and how much of that do you realistically feel like you can eat? It's kind of gross. Yeah. But that is what's going to be fed over into our 12-chamber column still. So it's going to sub-pump out of the bottom of that beer well, move it on over into our copper still in the following room. Now, you guys are welcome to take pictures throughout the facility, with the exception of our grain milling area, which is where we'll move right after that beer well. There's an expectation of static in there, and that's why they don't let us take pictures, as well as why they don't let me use the Britney mic, oh baby, baby, in that part of the factory. Up in these hills here behind us, we have 15 barrel houses. Now, about half of them are the traditional style that we're used to seeing. Everything's laid on their side, they're stacked just so. The other half are the new style. They are palletized. Now, this allows for more capacity variety in them, as well as provides a lot more safety for our crews. Traditional rick houses, it takes about 7 to 8 guys to fill them. Once you get a guy 2-3 barrels back, you lose sight of him because it's pitch black in there. So it becomes a very dangerous situation when you're rolling a couple 1,000-pound barrels around. Now the new ones, 2 guys and a forklift can stop those. So they're a lot more safer, and that's pretty much becoming the industry standard, and we're following suit with making sure we're keeping our crews safe. Not climate, we don't have to climate control them, but we don't have to rotate stock. We're able to let Mother Nature do her thing with it, and we take it from there. So, any questions?
This is as good a day as any to start the rebuilding of life. The roads that lay open are many when the old one's gone under the knife. And I can feel the sun on my skin, beginning to thaw from within. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today is a good day to live. This morning has so clear a light as any to see the horizon in the far. Excuses were 2 for a penny, but they've all gone out the window of this car. And when I feel the wind on my face, all that ever was is a wreck. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today, well, something's gotta give. Today is a good day. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow.
We're not as dry as we always have been. For a long time, I would say that this was a damp county. Folks don't care for that word very much, so I just say we're a moist county. Let's go this way here. Gonna go see the rickyard. The furthest one away is maybe 75 miles away. And they supply furniture makers with maple. And Jack is actually buying scrap from them. That scrap is called the canes because they can't use that. Let's get a little closer and see what's happening down here. All right, now, once these ricks are here, they're gonna sit outside for 6 months, just conditioned here in the open air. Then 4 of these ricks will be placed underneath those hoods. Now the hoods are inspired by the EPA, but what they do is to help keep the smoke down. They don't do anything at all to help make charcoal, and then you're gonna light the rick on fire. Now starting the fire, Jack has an accelerant, a flammable liquid that's sprayed inside there that helps them burn. Anybody want to guess what flammable liquid that is?
Jack Daniels.
Whiskey, there you go. 140 proof whiskey off the still, so might as well say that's moonshine or white lightning, right? Now the reason why you won't use any kerosene or lighter fluid, petroleum product, is, you can guess, flavor, right? The distillery just doesn't think that petroleum is going to add anything nice to the flavor of whiskey, and you're making flammable liquid here anyway, so might as well use that.
there's no time to borrow today. Well, something's gotta give today. It's a good day today and not tomorrow. There's no time to borrow today. Well, something's gotta give today. It's a good day today. It's a good day today. It's a good day to live.
They're also making CO2, which is a gas. We get up into the fermenters, the bubbling, that's not heat. That is CO2 leaving from those vats. And that's going to ferment 3, maybe 4 days, depends how on the weather, time of the year. And then it's going to go to the still house. And that's that tall, skinny building. 4 steels, 40 feet tall, 100% copper. These are columns. We also call these continuous steels. Not a pot steel, right? Continuously flowing. Mash comes into the top and down. Steam from the bottom goes up. That meat's inside there, that boils that mash, that vaporizes the whiskey. That whiskey then comes out the bottom at 140 proof, right? Collected at the top, then comes back out the bottom as a liquid. We're going to go inside here. First off, we're going to go through here backwards. Fermentation, then stills. We see the stills first, and look for a couple of things. A little window with the liquid going up, that's the mash, and a little box, liquid coming out with a big old lock on there, that's the 140 proof whiskey right there, okay? No pictures inside here.
So there's like a black covering on the building and all the trees that are nearby. I mean, the fence has got it. This is caused from the process of making the Jack Daniels. They've had it tested, it's not harmful, it's just a side thing. They said back in the day when people did moonshining, that's how they found the moonshiners. They looked for this black on trees and they could find all the bootleg moonshiners.
There to expand, builds pressure. That pressure moves the whiskey into the wood. Wintertime comes, it's cold, contracts that liquid vapor back down, relieves that pressure, that draws that whiskey back out. That's why I say the barrel's an ingredient, right? Because all the color and most of the flavor is the whiskey moving in and out of the wood, and that's why you only use a barrel one time, because you just won't get that same product the second time. Right, so let's go ahead and watch this video.
We can trust it too. You see, a good barrel is more than a container for the whiskey. It's really an ingredient. All of the whiskey's color and a good part of its flavor are drawn from the barrel. That's why we go to the extra effort to make our own, crafted from American white oak. The rough staves are cut from the trunk and left to season in the open air. The simple seasoning of the wood prepares the oak to contribute to the character of the whiskey. Next, the staves are carefully planed, cupped on one side, and the joints cut at a slight angle. A mistake here, and the barrel will leak, giving the angels more than their fair share. Now the staves go to the barrel raiser. Yes, barrels are raised, not built. The cooper fits together by hand staves of different widths, like puzzle pieces. 33 staves to the barrel. A seasoned barrel maker will raise 250 barrels a day.
Wow.
Now it's time for toasting, the crucial step to crafting a barrel that will impart the greatest flavor. Toasting releases much of the flavor locked inside the wood, such as our distinctive vanilla accent. Our barrel is now ready for the roar of the char tunnel's flame. As it passes through the fire, the natural sugar in the wood caramelizes. More flavor for the whiskey to draw from. Finally, a craftsman prepares the barrel for its head. The hoops are put on, the bunghole drilled, the barrel tested for leaks, and inspected under a cooper's watchful eye. At long last, the barrel is ready to receive its whiskey.
Sample. You want to sniff your sample, and when you taste, this is not the John Wayne show. You're not gulping whiskey. This is sipping whiskey. Tennessee sipping whiskey used to be on the bottle. They took it off a good number of years ago. I wish it was still on there, but you just want to do sips. 2, maybe 3 sips.
Today and not tomorrow. There's no time to borrow. Today, well, something's gotta give. Today is a good day to tomorrow. There's no time to borrow. Today, well, something's gotta give. Today is a good